we've been talking and learning more about transition. We have our jocks with us. So Brooke, thanks so much for being with us.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Brooke Malone, and I am in the business of relationship building. We're in the nonprofit industry for about 10 years now, just about what I've done my entire career after being an athlete. So I play tennis, I cheered, and going from one area to another took some work and some searching, but once you find that, it can be very meaningful to your life and finding your purpose and knowing what you want to do.
What was it about playing sports that you learned that you're able to transition into your life today?
When I think about sports and how it helped me in my professional career, tenacity is a huge thing, because even when something doesn't go your way in business, having that inner athlete that's like always deep down, whether you played t-ball when you were 4 or you went all the way collegiate or professional, it builds tenacity in you, and that translates to the boardroom in a major way.
We know transitioning is an inevitable part of playing sports. It can be a very scary time in life for all of us. Who are some of the people that you would recommend reaching out to when you're in or when you're going through your transition?
Transitioning and you're thinking about those you should reach out to, I would say first start with those who you know can provide you with some solace, like those who you know provide you with some sense of peace to move forward and some type of encouragement. And also, even if you're reaching out to people who you don't know, reach out to those who are doing what you want to do. Reach out to those who are moving in spaces that you want to move in, because those are going to be the people that drive you ultimately toward your goal. They're going to push you to where you need to be. So you want to align yourself and make sure you're having meaningful relationships with people who are doing what aligns with your purpose and with your goals. That's the ultimate way to get to where you're trying to go.
In a gap, I'm at one of these events, right, with all the to-dos and people you want to be around. They're in the room. Mm-hmm. As an athlete, now one, I've already done my research, so I know who's there. Mm-hmm. But I get so lost in my head. I don't want to sound stupid. I don't want to sound like I'm dumb. I don't want to seem weak. What's a practical step you can have an athlete, just like practice, walk through in their head before they open their mouth?
Be inquisitive. I think asking questions is a great way to get to know people. When you have a genuine sense of curiosity and you want to build an authentic relationship, it'll come through. If you spot someone who you recognize, or you know they're with a company that you want to align yourself with, walk over to them, introduce yourself, let them know why you're interested in what they're doing, and let them know possibly what value you can add, or ask them, what issues are you trying to solve? What are some of the most interesting projects you're working on right now? The best way to connect with people and to have them remember you is to take genuine interest in what they're saying and to just go with them with an attitude of inquisitiveness and curiosity. But be serious about it. Like, really try to understand, what they're trying to accomplish, what their goals are, and how that aligns with you and what you want to do. It's a great way to connect with others, and they will remember you. Because most of the time, when others are trying to connect with someone, it's the superficial, hey, how are you? The weather. But when you say, hey, Ainsley, I know you're from Jockupation. These are some of the things I know about Jockupation. Please tell me more about what you're trying to do, how you're trying to expand your networks. How can I help you with that? If someone walked up to you, you'd be blown away, like, wow, they know a little something. And even if they don't know a little something, they're truly interested in learning more about Jockupation. So it's the same thing when you're in a room with someone and someone nudges you like, hey, they're from ABC company, or they're from, this organization. Take genuine interest in what they're doing. And we all have smartphones, even if you have to do like a quick little Google search, to find out the latest and greatest news. Do that. If not, just ask them. Just ask them and be genuinely curious, be authentic in what you're asking them, what you're trying to accomplish.
Why is it important to make new relationships? Why is it important to make new friendships during this time of transition and and your life after your playing career ends?
Making new relationships and new friends is going to be vital to your success and your growth. You're not always going to be where you are. You're going to eventually transition to where you're not in the same space. And you're hopefully going to want to grow. Hopefully you're going to want to be in new spaces and doing new things. So that requires you meeting new people who are in those spaces. So when you're going out, and again, this all goes back to, being intentional and knowing what your purpose is and what you want to do. Because you're going to want to, y'all are going to hear me say this a lot, you want to align yourself with people who are doing what you want to do, who are in places where you want to be and doing things, making moves that you want to. So when you're looking to get involved in possibly, technology or investments or some other space that's going to help you grow mentally, financially, physically. I mean, even if you want to be in a different physical space, even though you're an athlete, you're going to want to find people who are in those spaces, and that's going to most likely require new friendships and new relationships. And it's also likely that you have to remember, not only are you going to be receiving information and nuggets from them, you're going to also be able to give. So remember that when you are seeking new friendships, how do I make this a reciprocal relationship? How can I make sure I'm giving just as much as I'm taking? Something one of my really good friends and I always talk about is making deposits and withdrawals on our friendship. So, making sure you're keeping a balanced relationship. Make sure you're feeding into that person and, you're getting what you need out of them as well.
How do you know when it's time to let a relationship go? We get locked into loyalty. We get locked into keeping it real, sometimes at our own detriment. So and I can't tell anybody when it's time to let a family member or a close childhood friend, that's not our place. But what we do want to do is provide some thought-provoking questions you can ask yourself during this vulnerable time. So what are some questions people can ask themselves to say, has this relationship run its course?
So when you're thinking about if it's time to let it go, or maybe not completely let it go, but just to give it some space, I would say, is this relationship still serving me? Right? So what am I trying to accomplish? What am I trying to do? Who do I want to be? And does this person and how they contribute to my life, are they helping me be who I want to be? And that doesn't mean that I'm, holding your hand through it, but are they encouraging you, or are they giving you positive influences? Or are they an influence in your life that's not encouraging you to go where you want to go or to be who you want to be? That's one big question you can ask yourself. Another question you can ask yourself when you're thinking, is this person worth having around? Is actually tied right into that question, the value. What value does this person bring? And what value can I give to them? If it's something that's, and actually, so what I'm going to say, I don't want it to be taken too tightly, but, sometimes you need that downtime. You need the time to relax, and you know who those people are in your life. But if you notice that when you're around someone, you're always slacking and you're always falling back and you're always falling behind on the things that you need to do or want to accomplish, when it's not that time and it's not that space, it may be time to, let it go. Cut them off.
Make a new decision of us, or what's some advice you could give an athlete during this time to help them gain a new perspective of their situation? Are there any books that you read? Are there any podcasts that you listen to? Where do you go to expand your consciousness?
Yeah, so I'm so glad you asked about books. So when I think about books, and I think a great read for anyone, any where you are in your life is Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. Mindset. That is one of my favorite books. So she talks about having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And when you're transitioning, that is crucial. Am I going to sit on the couch feeling sorry for myself because I don't know what to do, because I'm in this, I think in my mind, like, this is the only thing that I've done, you know, I've reached my pinnacle, this is it? Or am I going to have a growth mindset and launch and set it off? Something for athletes specifically, I would really encourage you to also listen to Lewis Howes. He actually was an NFL player, and he has an incredible book called School of Greatness, and his podcast is also called School of Greatness. He's had some amazing guests on his podcast, from, you know, Kobe Bryant to Tom Bilyeu to Tony Robbins. He's had some incredible guests, and he has the exact same perspective on taking your situation and growing from it. You know, I was once an athlete. As you said, you know, I was once the person that everyone wanted to walk up to get my autograph, and now I don't know what to do. And Lewis Howes specifically, he talks about his all-time low, how he, you know, was sleeping on his sister's couch. He went from being, you know, a top player, sleeping on his sister's couch, having no idea what he wants to do, to, you know, seeking and finding his purpose, being intentional, having a positive mindset. And that, those are some of the two places I go for myself. Because even outside of sports, even in life, you know, when I got to a place of a crossroads, you know, that change is scary and it's exciting, because it's something new. And, you know, who doesn't love new stuff? But, you know, it also depends on the way that you're looking at the situation. So I definitely recommend Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck and School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. Those are some great places and resources to go. Lewis Howes also has his podcast, so check that out.